who make sure that we never again do business with a drug-running Panamanian dictator, that we never again funnel aid to the Contras who convicted drug dealers. Values begin at the top, in the White House. Those are the values I want to bring to the presidency and to the White House beginning in January of 1989.
Governor, a follow-up question. You have 2 minutes to answer it. Are you suggesting, sir, that President Reagan is one of the causes of the drug problem in this country?
I'm saying that those of us who are elected to positions of political leadership, Jim, have a special responsibility, not only to come up with programs, and I have outlined and detailed a very important, very strong program of enforcement as well as drug education and prevention. And Mr. Bush is right. The two go hand in hand. But if our government itself is doing business with people who we know are engaged in drug profiteering and drug trafficking, if we don't understand that that sends out a very, very bad message to our young people, and it's a little difficult for me to understand just how we can reach out to that youngster that I talked about and to young people like her all over the country and say to them, we want to help you. Now, I've outlined in great detail a program for being tough on enforcement at home and abroad, doubling the number of drug enforcement agents, having a hemispheric summit soon after the 20th of January when we bring our democratic neighbors and allies together here in this hemisphere and go to work together. But we also have to take demand seriously. You know, we have 5% of the world's population in this country. We're consuming 50% of the world's cocaine. And in my state, I'm proud to say we've organized a drug education and prevention program which the Federal Drug Enforcement Administration says is a model for the country. We're helping youngsters. We're reaching out to them. And we're beginning with drug education and prevention beginning in the early elementary grades in every elementary school in our state. And that's the kind of effort we need in every elementary school in the United States of America. And we've got to begin early in the first, second, and third grade before our youngsters begin to experiment with these very, very dangerous substances. I guess the question I would ask of Mr. Bush is how we instill those values, how we create this environment for the drug-free schools that we want in this country, if he or representatives of the administration are either dealing with and involving people like Noriega in our foreign policy or don't pursue that connection in a way that makes it possible for us to cut it off and to be an example to our kids all over this country.
A minute to rebut, Mr. Vice President.
Well, the other day, my opponent was given a briefing by the CIA. I asked for and received the same briefing. I am very careful in public life about dealing with classified information, and what I'm about to say is unclassified. 7 administrations were dealing with Mr. Noriega. It was the Reagan-Bush administration that brought this man to justice, and as the governor of Massachusetts knows, there was no evidence that Mr. Noriega was involved in drugs, no hard evidence until we indicted him. And so I think it's about time we get this Noriega matter in perspective. Panama is a friendly country. I went down there and talked to the president of Panama about cleaning up their money laundering. And Mr. Noriega was there, but there was no evidence at that time. And when the evidence was there, we indicted him, and we want to bring him to justice. And so call off all those pickets out there that are trying to tear down 7 different administrations.